Today I'll be showing you how to install WordPress in cPanel. Let's get started. The first step is to log into cPanel. If you don't know how to log into cPanel, please check out the video on how to log into cPanel. Once you're in cPanel, the next step is to scroll down down here where it says domains. You're going to see WP Toolkit. There are two softwares in cPanel that allows you to install WordPress. One of them is the WP Toolkit. Another one is a popular app known as Softaculous. Either of them can be used for installing WordPress. My preference is the Softaculous apps installer, but I recommend going with WP Toolkit. The reason being that WP Toolkit is a cPanel app, which means it's going to be available in every cPanel dashboard. Softaculous is a third-party app, so it's possible that it might not be available in some cPanel dashboard. However, I'll be showing you how to use both of them, so you can go ahead and choose the one you prefer. I'm going to start with WP Toolkit since it's a cPanel app that is available in every cPanel dashboard. One thing to note is that instead of scrolling down to look for these apps, you can search here where it says search tools. So you can search for WP Toolkit and it will come up. You can also search for Softaculous and you will see it here, or you could just say WordPress and then you see here WordPress Manager by Softaculous. All right, since WP Toolkit is up here, I'm just going to go ahead and click on it. Now notice that when I click on WP Toolkit, what it does is to show all my existing WordPress installations on this cPanel account. So you can see that I have multiple domains on this cPanel account and I've installed WordPress on all of them. The next thing I'm going to do here is to click on install. Mind you, for you, if it's the first time you're installing WordPress, you won't be seeing any of these. This is showing for me basically because I have WordPress installed on some domains. So what you want to do is to click on install. Once you click that, it's going to give you the option to install WordPress. So let's just give this a bit to load, and you can see once it finishes loading, it gives you the interface to install WordPress. The next thing you want to do is to choose the installation path, which is the part of the domain you want to install WordPress. I recommend selecting the HTTPS option. The good news is that every web hosting provider provides free SSL certificate, which is what ensures your website using HTTPS connection. Now, the next thing you want to do is to choose the domain you want to install WordPress. Since you can have multiple domains and subdomains in your cPanel account, this here allows you to choose the domain name you want to install WordPress on. For the purpose of this tutorial, I want to install WordPress on city.sondocafe.com, which is a subdomain I created for this purpose. For you, you want to go ahead and select your main domain. I created this subdomain so that I can install WordPress on city.sondocafe.com without overriding the installation on my main website, sondocafe.com. So subdomain is basically a way to create additional domain for free. Anything that is on the left part, .yourdomain.com, is considered a subdomain. And I have a tutorial on how to create subdomains, so feel free to check that out. So I'll go ahead and select city.sondocafe.com because this is where I want WordPress installed. Next, it says installation directory. You want to make sure that this is empty. The reason you want to do that is that if you don't clean that out, it means that WordPress is going to be installed on your domain /WordPress. So if somebody visits your main domain, WordPress won't be there, so you won't have a website there. Where you have a website is where it says /WordPress. The only time you want to put something here is, as an example, when you have your main domain. Let's say for instance that mine is sondocafe.com and I don't want to override that installation. I don't want to override the existing site on sondocafe.com. What I can do is to put /WordPress or /city here. And what that will do is that this new WordPress installation will now be on sondocafe.com /city. One way I use that if I want to do tutorials or if I have people who are learning how to build websites, I always advise them to create additional installation on what they have here, or using the subdomain approach so they can do additional installations without impacting their main website. So that is the scenario you want to have something here. Otherwise, if you just want to build a website on your main domain, make sure to leave this empty. I'm going to just go back and choose the subdomain, since I decided to use that for this tutorial. But another approach would have been to just do /city, and that would have still, helped me achieve something similar. The next thing you want to do is to put your website title. Things like this, all these can can always be changed in WordPress, but you could just put something here, or you can just leave the default. It says plugins/theme set. You just want to say none. This is just going to install additional plugins for you. If it's something you're interested in, if you want additional plugins, you can just click and it will install plugins for you. But I like to keep it none, so that I just have a fresh WordPress installation without additional plugins, and later on I can install any plugins I need directly in the WordPress admin dashboard. I'm going to just leave my language at the default United States, but you can always select here and choose any language you want. But I want US English, so I'll leave that there. And I want the current version of WordPress 6.7, which was just released, so you can choose the version of WordPress you want here. I always recommend leaving this at the latest, so you just have the latest version of WordPress. The next part is very important. It says username. For security reasons, don't ever leave this at the default, or don't even have admin in your username. The reason being that hackers know that some beginners always use admin as username. They will just put admin as the username and just try to guess your password. You want to use something that nobody can guess as your username. Since this is just for a tutorial, I'm just going to use my name and any random stuff I can think of. So I'll go ahead and use Sunday and city as my username. And for your password, you want to go ahead and enter a strong password. Personally, I use a password manager to help manage my passwords, but I'm just going to go ahead and maybe just click generate here, and let me see, and I'll just copy these. For you want to generate something strong, but make sure you don't share your username and your password with anyone. The next is the email area. You want to make sure that you enter an active email address. I'm just going to go ahead and use my personal email. Mind you, the email here is going to automatically become your WordPress admin email. So it's important that you use an active email address here. Now, after this, you can go ahead and install WordPress. But I also like to expand this and just look at the database area. Here it says database name. I usually like to have a custom name for my database. The reason being that I have multiple sites on one cPanel account. So entering a custom database name helps me to easily identify the database for each site. So for this, I'm just going to go ahead and say CT. So it helps me identify that. You can leave the database prefix at what it is. For the database username, I also like it to be something identifiable and something close to the database name. So I can say city, and you could add something, but since this is an example, I'm just going to leave it as city. And for the database user password, you could just leave it at the default, or you could set a custom password. You really won't have a need to know the password if you're just creating a WordPress website. But I like to manage my databases, so at times I set a password, but you could just leave it at the default. You could always change this later, but this is not really important, since with WordPress, all of this information is automatically filled for you, so they are not things you really need to know. I also like to expand the automatic update settings and just change a few things. Where it says update WordPress automatically, I don't like it to automatically update WordPress for all minor and major updates, but what I like is for it to automatically update WordPress for minor and security updates. The reason being that for major updates, if you're building a major site, what you want to do is to make sure that you test the updates maybe on a staging site before rolling that update on the main site. So for this, I like to just say yes, but only minor security updates. So if there's a security vulnerability that is fixed in WordPress, I like for it to automatically update WordPress for me. I think that is the settings I like to change here. For the rest, I'm okay with just leaving everything at the default, but if you like to go through them and make any changes, you just have to expand here and then read what all this says, and if there's any one that applies to you, you can just enable it and it will automatically apply the updates for you. Once you've done that, the next thing is just to preview and be sure that the information you have here is accurate, that this is what you want. And once that is done, you can go ahead and install WordPress. So next, I'll just scroll down, double check, and just go ahead and click install and give it a few minutes, basically in some few seconds, and WordPress will be installed. There you go, the installation is complete. You can see it says the WordPress has been installed. Take a minute to set it up. So you can just say no thanks. This just takes you to start installing plugins. You want to do that later on from your WordPress dashboard. So just go ahead and say no thanks. And then you can see here, WordPress has been installed on ct.softaculous.com. Oops, it's showing me a notice that I have an updated PHP version because WP Toolkit also checks for security vulnerabilities and ensure that everything is up to date. And here it's saying that I have an outdated PHP version. Luckily, I know how to update my PHP version. If you don't know how to do that, please check out my video on how to update PHP version in cPanel. You may not need to update your PHP version because your web host should have automatically done that for you. It just happens to that in my own case, my server is on an outdated PHP version. So if you don't see this notice, you don't have to worry. But if you see a notice like this, go ahead and check out my video on how to update PHP version in cPanel. Let's go ahead and check out our website. You can do that by visiting the site URL. So I'll just go to ct.softaculous.com and you can see it loads their website. You can log into your WordPress admin dashboard by clicking login here. What this does is that it automatically logs you into your WordPress admin dashboard without asking you for your username and password. Something to keep in mind is that the default way to access your WordPress admin dashboard is to visit your website /wp-admin. That is your domain /wp-admin. And when you visit that URL, you'll be presented with the WordPress login page. And what you want to do next is to enter your username or email address. That is the username or the email address you had entered during the WordPress installation. Mine was Sunday CT, and then I'm just going to go ahead and enter my password. And next you can click on login and it will log you into the WordPress admin dashboard. So it's important to take note of this, as this is the standard way to log in into any WordPress website admin dashboard. The WP Toolkit feature is just a cool feature that allows you to use cPanel to log into your website without having to use your username and password. So you can go to cPanel, click on WP Toolkit, locate that installation and just click on login, and that will automatically log you into your WordPress website without asking you for a username and password. There you go. Now you know how to install WordPress in cPanel using WP Toolkit. Next, I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how to install WordPress in cPanel using Softaculous. To install WordPress in cPanel using Softaculous, all you have to do is to scroll down and you should see WordPress here. This uses the Softaculous apps installer. So either you click on WordPress here, or you scroll down some more and you click WordPress Manager by Softaculous or Softaculous Apps Installer. All of them are going to take you to where you can install WordPress. Since WordPress is right here and since the feature is available in most cPanel, I'm going to go ahead and just click on WordPress here. This is actually my favorite way to install WordPress because Softaculous is a long-standing WordPress apps installer and is very effective. So with Softaculous apps installer, once you click WordPress and you have this option, the next thing you want to do is to click on install now, and that will give you the installation interface. The first thing here is the protocol, which I like to leave it at this, and next you select the domain you want to install WordPress. and you can always have WordPress in a directory. For this particular installation, I don't have a subdomain created, so I'm going to use the directory approach so I don't override my main website. I'm going to go ahead and use CT2. What this means is that this WordPress installation is going to be available at sondukafia.com/CT2, so it will not affect my website that I have on sondukafia.com. And next, I'm going to leave the site settings at the default. This information can always be changed in WordPress, and it's asking me for username and password. I'm going to go ahead and use Sunday City, and for password, I'm just going to go ahead and enter my password. And admin email, I'm going to go ahead and enter an active email address. And I'm going to scroll down. Here it asks if I want these plugins. I don't want additional plugins, so I'm going to skip this. If you want any of these, you can select them, but my preference is always to install the plugins I need in my WordPress admin dashboard. There's also an advanced option which you can click, and this will show you some options that I like to use. This is the database name. I always like to give a custom database. This helps me because I usually have multiple websites in one cPanel dashboard, so this allows me to identify the database for each website. So for this, I'm just going to enter CT2, and I will leave every other thing exactly how they are. For these other areas about the auto upgrade, I don't like to enable auto upgrade, so I will leave them how they are. If you want to enable anything here, the only thing I recommend is upgrade to minor versions only. This will make sure that if there's a minor version of WordPress and if there's a security update, that your version is automatically updated. So that is the only option I would recommend selecting here. And this says email installation details too. You can enter your email address here so that once this WordPress installation is completed, those information will be emailed to you. That will just basically be your username and other information. I usually don't enter this, but you can just enter this to see how it works. It's just going to send you the information for this installation to your email address. So once you've done and you've double checked and all the information are exactly how you want, what you want to do is to go ahead and click on install and give it a few seconds, and WordPress is going to be installed. Softaculous is actually the fastest way to install WordPress, and I find it to be very reliable. So if it's available as an option in your cPanel, go ahead and use this instead of WP Toolkit. The reason being that it's been in development for years, so I find it to actually be more stable and more reliable than WP Toolkit. But I have to admit that WP Toolkit has received a couple of improvements over the years, and is catching up with Softaculous. There you go, our installation is complete. So we can check out the site by visiting the URL. You can see there is our site, and it's on sondukafia.com/CT2. And we can log in automatically by clicking on this link. This will automatically log us into the WordPress admin dashboard for that site. So Softaculous also has the feature that automatically logs you into the WordPress admin dashboard. Next, we are presented with the onboarding steps added by Softaculous. We don't want to use this, so we are just going to say no. And once we click no, that should take us to our WordPress admin dashboard. So here is our WordPress admin dashboard. Usually these options are not usually here, but all these options are being added by Softaculous. We can click on dashboard, and that will show us the usual WordPress admin dashboard. So this is usually what the WordPress admin dashboard looks like. This interface we saw earlier was added by Softaculous, and we can disable it by going to plugins, and we're going to see that Softaculous added a plugin, which is what is adding that. So we can go ahead and deactivate it. Once we deactivate it, you notice that that has removed that assistant feature because it was added by Softaculous. There you go. Now you know how to install WordPress in cPanel using both WP Toolkit and Softaculous. If you find this video helpful, please go ahead and like it, share it, and support me by subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.